Well, I want to thank the government for providing the time that Sinn Féin requested for Teachta Dála to comment today on the murder on Saturday of PSNI Constable Ronán Kerr. On the day that the Taoiseach was elected as Taoiseach, we spoke informally for a moment and I congratulated him and I suggested to him that he should come north at the earliest opportunity, and he agreed to do that. But none of us thought that his first visit in a formal capacity as Taoiseach would be to this young man's funeral, and that is a matter of deep, deep regret. Mar a dúirt mé níos luaite an seo agus sa tuairisceart in é agus ihe sahar nuair a thula mé an scéal donna seo tá don barú Ronán Kerr mí ceart agus tá Sinn Féin ag seasamh le teaghlaigh Kerr táid leo. I want to once again, on behalf of Sinn Féin, to state our unequivocal condemnation of Ronán Kerr's murder, and I want again also to appeal to any citizen, to anyone with any information whatsoever, to bring that information to the PSNI or to An Garda Síochána. Agus bhfuilm a cóhrán a thuirt Féin agus public tannig in ahanáid to Nuala Kerr agus the clan ar fad. I want to extend on my own behalf and on behalf of Republicans everywhere our solidarity and sincerest condolences to Nuala Kerr and to her children Cahir, Darina and Aaron. Like many others, I watched Nuala on television on Sunday, standing with her children beside her and speaking with love, pride and affection about Ronán. It was a desperately sad moment, made all the more poignant because it was Mother's Day. It's úntach bronnach atá an agus mar a dúirt mé tá muid agus tá muintir an tír seo a lig leis an teaghlaigh. Ronan's late father Brian came from Andersonstown in West Belfast. Tá Alan Mass ag daoine ar an teaghlaigh sin. They're a well-known and respected family. Ronan's grandparents and other family members lived there and he was a regular visitor. This week's Andersonstown News, a local newspaper, has photographs on its front page of Ronan's late father and mother Nuala at a family reunion in the Andersonstown Social Club, which was formerly called the PDF Club. That is, it was a social club which supported Republican prisoners and their families and organised transport to bring them to Long Cache, to Armagh and to Portlaoise. Ronán was a keen GAA member. He played for Borough Red Knights at under 12, under 14, under 16 and at minor level. He was also an enthusiastic Tyrone supporter. He was one of many young nationalists and Republicans who, following fundamental changes in policing, decided to join the PSNI. He wanted to serve his community and had just completed his training. He was 25. That means he was 8 when the first IRA cessation was called. For most of his life and all of his short adult life, he, like his generation, has had no experience whatsoever of conflict. Speaking on Sunday, Nuala Kerr, and others have quoted this, spoke for all of us when she said, "It's a sad day for our community. Ronán was a valued member and he had much to offer. This is at a time when we're striving for a neutral police force for the good of our country, and I urge all Catholic members not to be deterred. We all need to stand up and be counted and to strive for equality. We don't want to go back to the dark days again of fear and terror." And she is right. We all have to stand up for our community every day and everywhere on this island. We all have to stand up for equality and non-partisan civic policing in the north. We all have to encourage young nationalists and young Republicans to join the PSNI, and I do that again today. And we have to confront and we have to challenge those responsible for Ronán Kerr's murder. I believe the shock and the outrage and the anger surrounding his killing will unite and bind together more strongly than ever before all of those who want the peace process to proceed. I was in the north yesterday and the day before. I met many Republicans who have suffered grievously in the conflict, people who spent long time in prison without trial, people who had their homes raided, who had family members assaulted and injured, and in some cases killed. They are seething with anger that this was done. There's evidence also from within communities, from an common lower class Gael, from the GAA, from political representatives, from civic society. But we have to go beyond condemnation. That's the key, going beyond condemnation. It is important that we spell out our feelings on what occurred. But there's an imperative on every citizen to defend the peace process. And that especially means us, those of us who are honoured to be elected as political representatives. That means all of us in the chamber, means the government. We have to demonstrate that those who want to tear down the Good Friday Agreement process and the institutions, that we are resolute and that we are determined to defend and to build on those institutions. This means there's an onus on all of us, but especially the government, to implement all of those aspects of the Good Friday Agreement that are still outstanding and to strengthen the All-Ireland institutional structures. I want to ask Ceann Comhairle to take the opportunity to speak directly to those responsible for violent actions and for those who might tolerate them. Sinn Féin has offered, I have done it, Mark McGuinness has done it, to meet with you and to outline our strategy for advancing Republican and democratic objectives and our belief in the futility of armed actions. And so far, you have refused to speak to us. You have dismissed us. In fact, you have placed a death threat on some of us. But I make the same offer again. I have no problem with anyone disagreeing with Sinn Féin. That is your right. But you have no right to attack anyone. And you have no support for this. That is clear from the overwhelming public reaction and rejection of the attack that killed Ronán Kerr. The people of this island demand that you stop. I will meet you anywhere, at any time, to listen to what you have to say and to tell you that there's now a democratic, peaceful way to unite our people and our country on the basis of equality. Your achievement has to be to unite all of us in opposition to your actions. It is time to end these futile attacks on the peace process. They will not succeed. Tá an cogul heart. The war is over. The IRA is gone. I want to appeal to anyone who helped in any way to assist or to shelter the perpetrators of this action, or those who may, in some way, in the corner of their head or on a bar stool or in some other chat, try to justify this. Those who murdered Ronán Kerr are not the IRA. The IRA embraced, facilitated and supported the peace process. The IRA has left the stage. Those who murdered Ronán Kerr have no coherent strategy. Their actions do not advance any political agenda whatsoever. They are unrepresentative of the community. They do not define republicanism. They claim to be Republican, but by their actions they are anti-Republican and anti-peace. They are not dissidents. Dissent is a good and a necessary part of any democratic or social movement. They are anti-Republican, as I've said, and they're anti-peace, and Sinn in scale. Almost 20 years ago, and through a long, hard process of negotiation and effort and hard work, Sinn Féin developed a peace strategy and with others created a peace process that has brought about fundamental and positive change. Agus tána aharu mór an agus cahimid alan ahra ala oil. Significant progress has been made. Of course, that's a continuum. That's an ongoing struggle. One example of this is that in 4 weeks' time there will be an election to the Power Sharing Assembly and Executive at the end of a successful 4-year term. Who could have imagined people of our age would said 20 years ago, Mark McGuinness and Ian Paisley in government, then Mark McGuinness and Peter Robinson in government, the DUP, Sinn Féin, the other parties in government, the All-Ireland institutions, a Taoiseach that can go even on a sad occasion and will be welcomed by every single person that he will meet at this sad time. So that's progress. That has to be developed. The Good Friday Agreement provides a peaceful and democratic means to achieve Republican objectives for those of us who want those objectives. And in referenda and in every subsequent election, the people of this island have voted for this agreement and subsequent agreements. There's no excuse, justification or explanation that can validate or justify the murder of Ronán Kerr or any of the other actions of those involved in his killing. Our goal in the time ahead must be to defend the peace process and the Good Friday Agreement. Nuala Kerr is right. This is a time to stand up and be counted against those who would seek to drag us back to the dark days and against those who are wedded to senseless and futile militarism. It is time to continue, as she put it, the quest for equality for all, and that is the responsibility of every one of us. Omagh.